October 14th, 2024, a regular Tuesday night in a quiet American suburb, the kind of neighborhood where everyone knows your routine and your schedule. The victim was, by all public accounts, a dedicated student and a beloved friend. They had no known enemies, and on this particular evening, they had just sat down to a hot dinner. Then, within a precise 60-second window, they vanished. Their food was left steaming on the table, a chair pushed back, and not a single trace of where they went. When police arrived to perform a welfare check at 10 p.m., they found absolute silence. Neighbors saw nothing, and inside the home, investigators found zero signs of a physical struggle. But this 3D wireframe illustrates the real problem the police walked into. Every single door and window in the house was securely locked from the inside. A physical body cannot exit a sealed container without breaking the seal. Whoever or whatever removed them from that room managed to bypass the basic laws of physics, turning an ordinary home into the site of an impossible crime. To solve a physical impossibility, investigators had to zoom out. They pulled the search radius away from the quiet neighborhood and started looking at the invisible signals bouncing above the city. They found an anomaly almost immediately. At exactly 8:14 p.m., well over an hour before police arrived, the victim's phone pinged a network tower. This map shows the exact location of that ping. The cell tower is precisely 5 miles away. Plotting that 8:14 p.m. ping against the 10 p.m. police arrival leaves a 106-minute gap where physical reality and digital data collide. How does a person's digital signature travel 5 miles across town, while their physical body supposedly remains trapped inside a locked structure with no way out? One possibility is location spoofing, a technique where specialized software hijacks a device's GPS and cell data. It feeds fake coordinates to the network, making it look like a phone is moving when it's actually sitting on a kitchen counter. If that 5-mile ping was a deliberate decoy, it was designed to force investigators to look across town while the true location remained hidden. But digital data is only half the equation. The police still needed to know who might have been watching that house, so they turned their attention to the victim's private life. While scanning personal cloud backups, investigators found a series of encrypted messages. These weren't from friends or family, but from a group of associates linked to a financial dispute the victim had supposedly settled years ago. This discovery allowed police to identify 3 individuals who had been searching for the victim's new address for months, turning a random disappearance into a targeted investigation. However, this timeline grid proves all 3 suspects had airtight alibis. The grid dissolves into a deadbolt cross-section, revealing only 2 ways it engages. Either the victim locked it, or an intruder manipulated it from the outside after they vanished. The problem is that neither theory works with the timeline. The escape theory doesn't explain the lack of footprints, and the external lockpicking theory doesn't explain how the perpetrator bypassed the neighborhood cameras entirely. The digital trail points one way, the physical room to another, and the human alibis elsewhere. Investigators are left with an intellectual puzzle where every piece of evidence is designed to point in a different direction. Despite the physical crime scene analysis, the network tower data, and the suspect interviews, this case remains entirely unsolved today. The authorities are still missing the single piece of physical evidence required to bridge the gap between a locked suburban dining room and a cell tower 5 miles away. But the facts we do have suggest that our traditional concept of home security, heavy deadbolts and locked windows, cannot protect against modern vulnerabilities. Danger no longer needs to break your door down from the outside. It is carried inside through our digital footprints and the private lives we think we've left behind. A modern locked room no longer keeps the danger out. Instead, it simply traps you inside with it.